This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio. This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Hey, Rome, I'm just curious.
Yes.
Do you believe in personal growth?
I do.
Really? Why? Why is that important?
Because you never can get better if you don't believe in personal growth.
What about you, Nate? Do you believe in personal growth?
No.
Why not?
I stopped growing when I was a sophomore, so my personal growth ended when I was 15.
So I guess you're going to be like Renz, who talks about growth in physical ways and not metaphorically.
That was a lame joke, by the way.
Yeah, we figured that, but that's okay. So today on INCRadio, South Central States, we will be talking about personal growth. And then we're going to give you 10 different advices that we think some of us agree with, some of us don't, which is fine, to help with personal growth. If you have any ideas or suggestions or tips, go ahead and type it into the live chat, okay? So we'll start with the first one, okay? One of the tips they said is take full responsibility for your life. Stop blaming others or circumstances. Growth starts when you acknowledge that your actions shape your reality. Rome, what are your thoughts?
That is definitely true. I believe that all of those are true. But I also believe that you can't really rely on other people to take responsibility for your life. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm probably 110% in agreement with this. As much as you would like others to take responsibility, for your own life, maybe when you're a kid, that's definitely true. But when somebody else has responsibility over you, that also kind of gives them the right to control you in a way.
Yeah.
So it's much better, especially as you get older, that you retain a lot of your own responsibilities to yourself.
Yeah.
You can answer to yourself, so you're not beholden to somebody else. Because you can get yourself into trouble with that, especially if you owe someone something. And by the way, just for context, we got this top 10 just from doing a basic Google search AI, and we're just kind of challenging what is just the most basic advice. Yeah, and I found that with AI responses, it's if you were to give an 8th grader an assignment and he did it at the last second and he was Googling things, that's kind of the advice you get. So we're just kind of delving deeper into that.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of different aspects to where you talk about taking full responsibility of your life. I tell our kids, you can't expect others to control others' emotions, so you can only control yours, right? So based on what other people do, really shouldn't control how you react emotionally or whatever. So definitely taking full responsibility in that aspect as well.
That's a big thing, reacting emotionally. So why did you have an emotional reaction?
No, that's so true though, right? You got to learn to separate, because if you react emotionally all the time, that is not beneficial.
It's not good for anything.
And this is advice I give to students because I used to be a teacher.
Right.
Okay, and I can think of a very distinct example of this where there was a group of students who were trying to actively bait this other student into having an outburst in class.
Right.
And the kid did. He ended up blowing up. He completely lost it because these kids decided to push his buttons. And I had to pull him aside and talk to him hey, you're giving these other people full control over your emotions.
Yeah.
You absolutely just gave it to them and they completely played you. So you need to be in control of your emotions and realize when people are trying to bait you into doing things.
A lot of the happiest people I know don't care about what anybody else says. They just, sometimes you say they live in their own world, but they really just don't care what other people say, and they're the happiest people. You know?
And I had to learn that because I think when you're growing up or when you're younger, a lot of times you really care what people think,
Right.
like especially as kids.
Yes.
We care about what our parents think.
Exactly.
We don't want to disappoint them usually for the
Yeah.
most part. And I think growing up, I was not a happy child because that's how I was. I felt like I always had to impress everybody.
Yeah.
I had to make everyone smile. And when a kid takes that on, I think that's a lot.
It
And
is.
so as I started getting older and I started to realize, I'm like, what do I care what they think? They're
Yeah.
not the ones feeding me,
Yeah.
right? They're not the ones providing for me.
Right.
So now I've come to the point where, hey, like that, I take responsibility for my own actions because whatever I do and I decide
Right.
is going to affect my life
Exactly.
and nobody else.
Yes.
We also got from Florentina Taylor here for little kids as they grow, just to kind of ground our conversation to make sure they grow in the value of faith, respect, and trust.
Yes.
So yes, absolutely. So
Number one for me.
and that's just talking about foundations,
Mhm.
and when you set those foundations, then yeah, you are taking full responsibility for your life.
Exactly. And that also falls into respect, right? If you're taking
Mhm.
responsibility and not keep blaming everybody
Yeah.
else for everything that goes wrong in your life, then you're
Yeah.
having respect and trust for those other people.
Right.
So.
But at the same time, like, because I adopted that mentality when I was younger, like, let me just take responsibility for everything.
Hmm.
But the reality is, at the same time, you aren't responsible for everything. And it is good to, step in and be like, all right, I'll take this responsibility. I'll take the hit. But if you aren't responsible for something, you have to be careful about taking the fall for others.
I think you might be trying to compare like responsibility and accountability. Those are two different things in my eyes.
Yeah. I mean, they're kind of tied together, but I'm
Yeah.
just trying to point back to like employment
Oh.
more than anything.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I think in friendship sometimes it is better to be a bigger person, but in employment, I would
Yes.
advise like you don't try to take responsibility for everything.
Yeah, don't take on too much.
No. Yeah, I've learned that because I'm a hard worker, and like I said, I like to impress my bosses, right? But now I've come to the point where, hey, I'm going to do my job because taking on too much, yeah, it is too much.
So let's do a percentage of agreement with
Okay.
this face value. What percentage of agreement would you give to that? So I would say I'm probably like 95% in agreement with this.
99.9%
Yeah.
for me. No, because you have to take responsibility. There's no one else. Unless someone does something to you, personally and stuff, then that's fine. But if you're the one making the decisions, you're the one deciding, you have to take responsibility for the decisions you make.
If something goes
Yes.
wrong on today's show, then
No, Hey, you're the one controlling the stuff.
99.9%.
You're the one controlling the boards.
What about you, Rome?
Yeah, I'd probably say about 95% as well.
Okay, fine.
There's certain factors you just cannot control. So
That's true. All right, we'll go with our next one. What is the next advice? Develop a growth mindset, right? So when we're talking about developing a growth mindset, believe that your abilities can improve with effort and learning, embrace challenges, and view failures as feedback. Oh, I got a good
Yes.
one on this one, but Rome, you start.
yeah, I completely agree with that as well. I don't really believe in failures. The only time that there's an actual failure is if you don't learn something from it, or something doesn't come out. With a growth mindset, you'll always be able to build that resiliency and be able to overcome just about any challenge. Just learning and
Well, there's certain
Always
things you
things.
can't fail at, like bungee jumping. You can't fail that.
well, you can't. I mean, the cord might, but
But yeah, no, I agree with you though.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to a growth mindset, just in general, it's more of an attitude,
Yeah.
that like if there's a path forward, then why not take it?
Yeah.
Some people, and I used to hate this when I was on a team, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I can partially agree with that, but it's oversimplifying, like, how someone's attitude should be, especially in the workplace, especially in some jobs that require just constant growth, because you're always going to be beholden to, shareholders and your
Yeah.
boss and whatnot. And, the more money the company makes, it might benefit more people within the company.
Yeah. And the thing is, really, in order to grow, you really have to feel like there's still room for improvement.
yes.
If you already think you're perfect, then there's no way you're going to grow in
No.
any way. And you don't grow by doing nothing. You
Right.
really do have to put effort into it.
Yes.
And learning, always learning. There's no way you know everything in the world. You know, even if you learn how to cook, you learn a different language, you just learn something. I
Mhm.
think that's going to help you grow as a person.
Yeah. I never like to be like that one person that just knows everything all about one thing. I'm more of a like jack of all trades, master of none. Like I like to be balanced throughout whatever.
That's
That
me
way
too.
I can always fit in, get in where I fit in, or if someone needs help, I can, I know something about that. Let me give you whatever.
Now let me
advice
challenge
I
that
know.
because I'm in a similar situation mentally with you. Do you ever feel like you have imposter syndrome?
Yes.
Same
But
exact answer for me.
But it's just a mentality thing. Like the thing is, you think that, but you're really not. Like
Right.
you just have to talk yourself out of it, essentially.
You also have to kind of sell yourself
Yeah.
as that. Like
Yeah.
you have to make sure that like if you do run into an expert, and I experienced this because I work in data,
Mm-hmm.
and there's definitely experts who know what they're doing. They know the book definitions versus me who just knows like, oh, I put in magic words and magic data comes out. I can't tell you exactly what this means. I just know how it works.
Right.
I can't articulate it or teach a class on it. And, that's where you kind of fall into that pitfall, with a growth mindset and you kind of spread
Yeah.
yourself thin. But
Yeah.
I mean, you do have to kind of make that choice in life. Like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just that you have to accept, the pros and cons
Right.
that come with, one attitude or another. And if the company is good enough, they're going to understand like, okay, we don't want the exact same person for everything. Sometimes
Yes.
you want somebody who can grow in different directions
Yes.
because then they can respond to problems
Right.
that aren't always going to be clear cut.
But even not in work relations, but just even with your personal life, right? When growing up, your parents teach you certain things,
Mhm.
and you figure that's all you need. But then as you start to meet other people and you learn different interests and things like that, then that's what's going to help you grow.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we were brought up in the Filipino culture, and that's all we knew. But when I was growing up, I didn't have a lot of. Actually, I was the only Filipino in my school,
Oh,
so
wow.
I didn't. We didn't share the same values and traits, and so.
Yeah.
I learned what other cultures did. And like you said, like it's not even to fit in. It's just so that you can have like some kind of conversations with people.
Right.
Like even though I wasn't good at all the sports, I knew about every sport. If you want
Yeah.
to talk to me about baseball, football, I can talk to you about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know rugby, right? Because rugby's not really that popular in the US. But guess what? When I went to go visit my friends in Australia, I had to learn about rugby so
Yeah.
that we can talk about something, right?
Yeah, I will agree with you there. Like definitely having that growth mindset does help build relationships.
Yes. And then you like getting into the arts, like who likes art? Like who likes to look at all these expensive paintings, right? But then when you start to do things like that, it really does help you grow because it broadens your horizon.
Right.
And then it doesn't matter whether you're in a social setting or in a work environment, you're able to talk to different people. Because if you talk to like, people who are well off and they have all this art and you know nothing about art, then you can't have that conversation with them without feeling like you don't know anything.
Yeah.
So I think that's why it's really good to open up the
I agree.
horizons, broaden it up, right?
And Brother Ren's our minister here. He brings up another good point. For me, he likes to learn from people's experiences, listen to them, and know what drives them.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I've learned, especially as I got older, because when I was younger, whenever like, and this is probably typical of like most young people, when you hear like an old people talking, you're like, yeah, whatever, Gramps, whatever. I know everything in the world because I'm a smart young person.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
now I value more than ever, like actually getting advice from a real person,
Yeah,
especially
someone
someone
that's lived their
who's
life.
lived it.
Yes.
And I think there's also too much of a reliance on like the internet, which is a
Mhm.
whole nother conversation about trusting,
Put that one in the
advice.
box.
Well, that it's upvoted or it's promoted by
Yeah.
whatever social media decides is
Right.
going to be the flavor of the day.
Right.
And you'll find that like the internet does not have all the information.
No. And
Okay.
sometimes they got fake news. I'm so sorry. They got
Yes.
fake news.
Yeah.
And just talking about like friends were asking about traveling and all that stuff. And this is the information we got. I said, that is so fake. Don't listen to that. So I don't trust the internet completely. And like you said, when you learn from people's experiences, especially like you learn from the mistakes that they made, hopefully that will prevent you from making the same mistakes. And
Yeah.
that's why I think learning from others is good.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
When my dad, was trying to teach me, like, hey, don't do this.
Yeah.
I really took that to heart, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm glad that, number one, my dad, set aside, the time to actually tell me,
Right.
To my face, like, don't do this
Yeah.
before I ever would do it and get in trouble. And then, number two, that I followed that. And then I was like, my dad was absolutely right.
I must
So,
have been a little bit more hard-headed than you.
No, but you know
I
what?
learned through my own experience on some things.
Exactly, but you know what? At least you're learning.
Yeah.
So the learning part is important
Yes.
because if you keep doing it, you make the mistake, and you keep doing it all over again, then that doesn't help.
There are certain things that I believe you do have to learn from your own mistakes.
Yes.
But there are a lot more that you can learn from others' mistakes.
So, I'm trying to, incorporate those in the chat, and I'm trying to ask him different questions about, how can you grow? And there was a comment that Brother Renz had put on there, and he said, as a 31-year-old, 5'4", I don't think growing taller is possible anymore.
there is a surgery where they like break your leg bones and.
Okay, but that's no. Okay. Anyways, I just thought that was funny, and I just like to share these when we have funny comments.
One more comment from Brother Renz. I'm more keen into listening to those who are on the other side, but now I have older side. Now I need to get new glasses.
Yes.
But now I have to track back a little to know the younger generation. This is an admission. I'm getting old.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is important too, that we do teach the next generation, because you don't want to be the old person that's complaining about the younger generation when you're the one responsible for raising them and teaching them. Yeah.
Children are the future. Teach them well. Let them.
I think it's time for our first thinking cap.
Oh, is it already?
Yeah.
Okay, let us go to our first thinking cap. All right, our first
not
question.
This one.
Our first question, A, B, C. Don't forget, just put A, B, C, or D. And then we'll track your scores and we'll see who wins this month. So doing this can trick your brain into happiness. Okay. Doing this can trick your brain into happiness. Is it A, eating? I already know what Carmen's is going to put on there. B, smiling. C, shopping. Or D, running. Doing this trick can trick your brain into happiness. So what is it? Eating, smiling, shopping, or running? Ooh, I don't know, but the ladies are going to put on this answer. But yes, okay. We'll come back to that one later.
Yeah, whoever puts D is psychotic.
Yeah, no.
Maybe when I was younger.
No, even then, I did not like running.
One more thing from Florentina Taylor. She put, as I grow and getting older, I learned a lot through experiences, how people treat me, and I learned to change myself as a better, wiser person and remain humble.
Yes. Yes.
And I do see that as I get older, I'm starting to resemble old people. Just
yes,
I get it now. I get why old people are the way they are, and it's the way to go.
And it's funny, and no, it's funny you say that, because like my parents are visiting, right? And so there are certain things they made us do every single time growing up, right? And then now that they're here, we're like, hey, Dad, you said, we don't need to turn on the AC, right? You have the fan on. And I'm like, see, I go same thing. And so you start to kind of be like them, like, turn off all the lights. You told us to save electricity.
Yeah.
So it's just funny. All right, let's go to our third tip. The third tip is practice consistent self-reflection, right? Set time aside regularly, whether it's daily, weekly, hourly, whatever, to reflect on your goals, behaviors, and emotions. Journaling helps clarify what's working and what needs change.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I probably should do a little bit better job of that as far as journaling and whatnot. Like, I feel like if you do it with purpose, like, talking about maybe the past week, what you currently at, and maybe what you want for the future might be a little bit better. The only time I do any self-reflection is when I'm like shaving. Or, fixing my hair up all nice. But yeah, no, I think that's a good, because then you can always look back and see how far you've grown afterwards. Like, oh, let me see how I was back in January. Oh, wow. I was able to, take a look at that. I adjusted with that, and all your growth mindset kind of falls into place.
I think Facebook's kind of the modern journaling, don't you think?
It is. But with the whole self-reflection, I think when you look back and you see all the different things you accomplished, I think that also gives you some sense of pride.
Right, yes.
Because like, oh, look, look what I did, like, or look how I've grown since last year. And I think that helps out. And so like with me, I've always been the organized type when it comes to things, and I would always have checklists and all that.
Yeah.
And just having a to-do list and then being able to cross things off,
Right.
like, oh, it just makes you feel better because it makes it look like you're actually accomplishing things, right? And so that's why I think reflection is important.
I think when I reflect on my Facebook posts, I'm like, man, I was cringy back then.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I haven't journaled since Zanga. So
Since Zanga.
I still like to write, so I actually have journals. And it's funny because, like, when I had moved into my house, I had all my journals from when I was in high school, right? I was digging them all out, and I was reading it, and I'm like, I can't believe I was stressing over that thing, you know?
Yeah.
Just so seeing things like that, I think it helps. And then it just makes you realize how much you've grown, because now those little petty things don't matter anymore.
And if you're ever hesitant about like journaling, like almost every major historical figure kept a journal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we talk about journaling, it doesn't have to be like an essay.
No.
You know, there was one time where, you know, I was like at a low point in life and I didn't know what to do. And I, instead of writing down my feelings to journal, because then I thought that got me more depressed. What I started to do was like I had one journal specifically, all the things I'm thankful for or the blessings I received.
Okay.
I couldn't put anything negative there.
Yeah.
And so every day I was forced to find something good that happened in life, right? And then by doing that, it just made me more positive. And so no matter, I mean, even now people like at work, they're like, why are you always so happy? Because I got to that point where it doesn't matter how bad life gets, you're always going to find something good.
You can always add those positive affirmations in your thing, you know, whether it's in the beginning or in the end of your journal, like, okay. And when you were, Nate, when you were talking about like historians always keeping a journal, I thought of like scientists. Whenever they're trying to accomplish whatever experiment that they're doing, they journal. They journal everything. What went wrong? What went right? So that they can continue on and make corrections as they go. And then all of a sudden, you have a working experiment. So,
now you'll find too, a lot of companies now they make you self-reflect at the end of every year when they do the
goal setting.
And same thing when I was a teacher, the whole goal setting and everything. But there's good reason for that. It's like instead of constantly always looking forward, you do need to look back and think like, hey, what worked and what didn't.
Right.
And we mentioned historical figures, and the whole point of history is, well, not the whole point, but one of the major points of writing down history so you don't repeat it, especially
learning
mistakes.
from other people's experience.
Exactly. So this is why this is important. So let's give our percentage for this. I would say practice self-reflection 100%.
Okay, I'll agree with you on that one, 100%.
Actually, I'll say 99.9%.
Nope,
you can leave the cringe behind.
100.
You leave the cringe I posted one day.
But still, just the fact that you're reflecting on that and realizing that you shouldn't have worn those things or done those things, right? It's still self-reflection.
That's true.
No, I agree 100% as well. And like I said, I probably need to do a better job of this. I mean, I have a hard time going to sleep, so maybe this is what I need to do.
Reflect before
I go to bed.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the fourth one. And this one, I'm a little here and there. Read and learn daily, right? Invest in continuous learning. Even 15 to 30 minutes a day of reading or listening to audiobooks can significantly shift your mindset over time.
Does reading the comment section count?
See, that's what I'm saying. What reading are we talking about, right? What reading are we talking about? Because sometimes I don't have time to read. Sometimes I'm just so busy. And I'm not saying I don't ever read, but like to do it on a daily basis, you know, I mean, besides reading emails and all that, I don't count that. But being able to read every day, I really don't have time. But there is going to be time where I actually have time. Then I could sit down for an hour and read.
Yeah.
So I don't know about the whole daily thing, but I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I try to read as much as possible. I really do. But I just end up, I need to just like uninstall certain apps on my phone so I'm not like scrolling.
Okay.
But you know, there's always YouTube University that you can go to and learn from other and TED Talks and stuff like that. So.
I'm just curious for our K-drama people, you know, do they think reading subtitles is reading? I don't know. Give us your thoughts. If that's your 10 to 15 minutes of reading a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like social media ruined my patience for reading because I used to read a lot.
Yeah.
Up until I became like a social media manager for like my rugby team, because then I really had to be in tune with like what's going on in social media.
Yeah.
And it's also like the time. I feel like I don't have the same amount of time.
Exactly.
Like I'm doing a lot more things that don't involve reading, like actually creating things and making things.
Exactly.
Like this INC radio broadcast, which takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I just figured like I'll keep all my books. Eventually, I'm gonna get to where I'm definitely not young anymore, and I need to sit down and read a book.
Mhm.
But I do agree, though, fully with like learn as much as you can daily,
Yes.
and also have that curiosity to learn different things. It
Yes.
really helps, especially when you want to relate to other people as you get older. I noticed like some of my friends who are like diesel mechanics, and I would try to learn a little bit about that so that I can talk to them about those things, or even like if I have to ask questions about my own
Mhm.
vehicle, like if something breaks,
Yeah.
then I can
Mhm.
at least articulate like what is going on,
Right.
with my vehicle. Just not really a deep understanding, but it's like, okay, I kind of get the basics.
Yeah.
And like you said, learning every day is important, but I don't think you necessarily have to read every day to learn something.
And there's no excuse nowadays. You literally have the entire internet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a library at your fingertips.
Yes,
Yep.
I learned a lot of stuff
Yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
I learned how to cut things. I learned how to make things. Yes,
Yeah.
so you can learn.
You can
All right.
definitely learn.
Okay, so what's your percentage on this? How do you rate it?
I mean, we all want to be like, I'm 100%.
Yeah, no,
but
I'm
I
not
think
100.
I
I'm
think
not 100 on
the
this one.
reality, I'm probably like 80%, mostly on trying to learn things. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary to constantly be learning. Sometimes you need to actually start doing things instead of
Yes, or sometimes you just
reading.
need to decompress
Yeah.
and not have to think about things, right?
Right.
So
Well,
I'm 75 on this one. I think
I'm trying to balance though, because like book smart is great and all, but you still have to apply these
you need
things.
street
Yeah.
smarts.
That's where I kind of back off on, like, constantly trying to bury your head into a
Yes.
book and try to learn.
Yes.
What do
Yeah.
you think?
I'm probably like 60%. Just so I agree with both of you. Like, you don't necessarily have to learn every day, but I don't think reading is necessarily the mode, especially for everyone. Like, not everyone
That's
has
true. Right.
time, or I'm a very slow reader. Some I have to look up words. So
Yeah, and all the TikTok videos have captions on
Yeah.
them, so I'm good to go. I'm reading.
Yeah. I
I'm
don't
reading
know about that.
constantly.
I don't know about that one. All right, let's go with. I like the fifth one. I really do like the fifth tip.
All right,
right.
what's the fifth one?
The fifth one is surround yourself with growth-oriented people. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose those who uplift, challenge, and inspire you.
Yeah.
I think so. Because like I do remember growing up, I tried to hang out with all the smart kids because, I was like, hey, I already know I'm smart, but I wanted to be smarter.
Right.
And I want to be the smartest. In order for that to happen, I had to be around smart people. Because if you were hanging around people who weren't smart, what can they teach you, right? But I don't know. That was just for me.
I mean, if I think of the opposite, if you surround yourself with, what's the opposite of growth orientated? But I think we all know what that
Lazy
means.
people.
Well,
people?
they don't necessarily, I guess, spend their time like trying to contribute or be constructive or
maybe
positive.
Not motivated. People who are not motivated.
Not motivated. I mean,
Yeah.
there's people who just like to spend their time and bringing people down, discouraging people. You hang out with people like that. We kind of learned this like when we were younger, when we were kids. Like you would make friends with kids who decided they weren't going to go anywhere, and you ended up picking up on their habits.
Yeah.
And that's why they definitely tell you, like, tell me who your friends are.
Yeah, I was literally thinking the same thing.
And I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
And so, like, as much as you want to be your own person, they are going to influence you, even if it's just a tiny percentage.
Yeah.
Yes. Because even if you think you're not like them, when they see you as a group, everyone's going to say, well, you guys are all the same. That's why you guys hang out.
How do you guys feel about the opposite when someone like you as a kid, or maybe your kids might be like saying, well, what if I'm the one that's influencing them? How do you guys feel about that?
I mean, there's that too. Like, if they really are your friends, you could be their growth, oriented
You
person.
can be that one person for them.
Right. So that's where I probably wouldn't 100% agree with this. Now that you brought that up, that's a very, very good point. Because you do also want to help people out.
Right.
But at some point, you do have to draw the line and be like, this isn't helping this person out, and they're actually becoming more detrimental to me the more I hang out.
Yeah,
with
you
them.
definitely got to know when they're pushing on you rather than you pushing on them.
Because you can challenge people and you can inspire them, but like Nate said, you can only do it for so much until either one, you just get so tired that you don't want to do it anymore, or then they'll start to influence you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So yeah.
Real quick, Ferlin Boer, for the previous point we made, never let the sun go down without reading a newspaper. And they learned this in college. But since they cannot have a newspaper every day, they watch early news.
Yes, and I responded back to her. Remember when your fingers used to turn black when you read the newspaper?
I don't remember that. One thing I never learned was actually how to hold a newspaper.
It's always so
like
big.
this.
Yeah, it's like a massive thing. It's like, how did people
Did they fold
this?
it? Did you just keep
And
it
then
right
it was like you would read a story, you would get into the story, and it was like continued on page 17.
Yes.
You're like, what?
Yes.
What do you mean 17? I gotta go find this thing now, and it's like on a weird corner somewhere. And
Yes.
you're like, all right.
And someone cut up the comic behind it, so you can't read it no more.
And for the young kids who don't know what a newspaper is, Google it. You'll see. But yeah, I do remember reading the newspaper back in the Stone Ages when they first came
on top
out.
of your dinosaur.
Yes, on top of my dinosaur. But yeah. So so okay. So what's your percentage then? What would you say your percentage is on this tip?
I would say, I mean, it just says surround yourself with. It doesn't say only with.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say probably like 90%. I'm pretty strongly in agreement with this. I want to lean, especially as I get older now, like I want to lean on this, but leave the 10%, like you said, for those that may be able to help out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with 95. So I'll leave the 5%.
Oh,
away.
95.
I'll go with 95 on this one.
I agree with it, but I would say not just 5 people with growth oriented. I want to try to surround myself with those that are going to be inspiring, like that will push me, that won't let me, that will hold me accountable. Those type of people is what, not just growth.
Right. And I think about this saying where it's like you want to surround yourself with people who like to talk about ideas and not talk about other people.
Yes.
Because I immediately thought of like people who like to gossip when this comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't like hearing gossip.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. You got to avoid those.
You sound like you really want to gossip right now.
No, it's not that. It's just, and I'm gonna throw people under the bus. Right? No, like don't get, I love going home to visit my family. I really do. But then when all they talk about is like all the stuff, like I'm like, really, that has nothing to do with me. That has nothing to do with you. Let them do it. Who cares, right? So so that's my thing on that. Yeah.
All right, we got a few more comments from Brother Renz. Talk to those that even if they are not boasting it, but would drive and challenge you to be on par with the effort that they are putting into their work and the results it yields.
Yes. Oh, he did say have the I can do that mentality. I can do that too mentality, which is true. Because I think some people are really hard on themselves and they think they can't do things. And I think having that mentality will help you grow as a person. Yes. I think so too. All right, let's go to, should we do our second thinking cap?
Yeah,
all right, let's do our second one. Our second thinking cap. All right, so, I cannot see what the ladies answered this one too. Which environment helps lower stress and stimulate creativity? Is it E, nature, F, the mall, G, school, or H, work? Which environment helps lower stress and stimulate creativity? E, nature, F, mall, G, school, H, work. So go ahead and put in your answers. Let us know. I'm going to be curious here to see what Brother Matt puts in the chat about his wife again, because he likes to talk about her on our chat. So,
earlier he had mentioned that shopping.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
So I bet the guy who answers that work relieves their stress probably works in like a sleep store or something.
or just not like being at home.
I'm a couch tester.
Yeah. Or they could be like video game testers, like
video games are very stressful.
Their mattress.
It depends. Well, see, I play like Tetris, so that's not stressful for me.
Unless you're playing like one of those like tractor simulators.
I don't know.
It'd be very soothing.
All right, so put in your answers. Let's see what they put. All right, so what number are we on now?
6.
Number 6. Okay, number 6. Set clear, actionable goals, right? Ambiguity is the enemy of progress. Use SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, to drive focused efforts. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely got to have goals, and part of those goals is like writing them down, not just mentally saying it. Like, okay, because you can put it in your journal when you journal, but if you don't write them down, that's part of the problem, because then it's not like what's the word I'm looking for? It's not. It's just a figment of your imagination.
Yeah, it's not
Mhm.
concrete.
It's not concrete. It's not
discrete.
real. Like,
Yeah.
if you write it down, even if it's on a post-it note, like on your monitor or something, you have it. And I think out of all those, out of the SMART, I think actionable is probably the most important for me. Like, if you can't act on it, then there's really no reason for you to, or how you're going to act on
I
it.
feel like I disagree with this.
Why do you disagree?
I feel like my life, nothing has ever been gone to plan.
But it's okay though, because the thing is, you
Right.
set goals,
Well,
right?
this is where I say, like, you set a direction more than a goal.
I can see
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
I can see
Why
that.
would you say direction?
Well, if I were to set a goal and I don't achieve it, then I am a failure by definition, right? And to me, it's like, if I have a direction in mind, like, I want to go in this direction, and I think of road trips as a prime example. It's like, my goal is to reach this destination by this time. Well, weather happens, or I show up and it's not a great place to camp out.
Right.
Well, I don't want to fulfill my goal and just do it anyways. Like, no, plan B, time to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just more of like maybe your own personality type,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where having a clear, actionable goal may not be the most important thing to you. I do respect, though, if somebody has a task for me, I need to fulfill it, then absolutely, like, I will prioritize that. But for myself, I prefer just to have a direction I want to go in. It's like, I have like more of a, not really a clear goal, but it's a vague goal. Like, this is where I'm going to heading. I'm going to start heading in that direction, and we'll see how things develop.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the GPS always has recalculating on there.
Yeah, that's
I
so
don't know
true.
how many times I disobey the GPS.
I do it all the time. I do it all the time.
I know a better way.
It's not that when I see traffic there, and I'm like, hold on,
Yeah.
if I take this side street, I know I'll get there faster, and then my time goes down. I'm
Yeah.
like, why couldn't you show me that in the beginning?
When it says I-35, I'm like, no. You are lying to me that this is the fastest route. I-35 is never the fastest
Oh,
route.
you know what? Melanie put something there.
Yeah, that's
I
a good
think
one.
I need to do this. She said, what has helped me achieve goals is rewarding myself if I accomplished it. I think that is such a great advice. I need to do that.
Yeah.
Because I achieve goals all the time, but then I'm like, oh, good, I did it, and that's it. But, okay, you got to give us, you know, what do you reward yourself with? Give me some ideas so I know what to reward myself with. Something not too expensive, though.
No gift
I
cards.
keep it simple. I just go to the gas station, get my favorite soda. Just simple as that. Because I know I can get it now.
I mean, but then again, like, okay, you could do that anytime. What's keeping you from getting it without accomplishing your goal? You still got to make it.
That's true.
You still got to make it a little bit, you know, hard to get or hard to.
Yeah.
In order for you to achieve the goal to get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But a nice cold soda is very, very
okay,
nice
hold on.
thing to have.
I think this is where me and Melanie agree. So she put in another comment. For example, when I was studying for my real estate license exam, I said, I'll buy myself a plane ticket to see my family if I pass. See? Same thing. I will go on a trip. I think that's my Yeah, I know you don't like to get on the plane. Would you do a road trip if as your reward?
If I had time. I don't have time anymore. I need to, though. I absolutely need to take another road trip. But I don't know. I think that's also in my mentality, because it's like always, all right, on to the next project. I just love being in the grind.
I going back to what you were saying about you're not necessarily setting clear goals or like having a destination. I used to be the type of person where I would go out with a bunch of people, and let's say we go to a theme park, and I'm like, all right, we got to hit this ride and do this, got this, like the whole agenda out. And the moment when something happens, you're like, oh, it ruined my entire day.
Right.
So then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go with the flow. We want to hit these things, but as far as personal growth, I think you definitely have to have that.
Something. And like you said, plans can always change.
Yeah.
Just because you set a goal, it doesn't mean you have to hit every single one.
Yes.
But, you know, you work towards it, but if it takes you a different path, that's okay.
Yeah.
But at least you're working towards something.
And see, when I plan trips, I plan it down to like the hour. Like, I'm waking up at this time.
Oh, yeah,
on this
no, I
day
can't go on a trip with
for
you.
like 2 weeks. Well, here's the thing, though. it is fully planned out, like where I'll be.
So
and
your
everything.
stops are planned out too?
Yes, everything is planned out, but it's always in my mind.
Yeah.
We don't have to stick to this. Like this just gives me something to start with.
Yes.
And after like 2 days, I might as well throw it out the window. But at least I thought it out and I know.
With my family, the only thing we say is, this is what time we're leaving. Whatever else happens the rest of the day, we'll see. But at least we're leaving at this time.
But it's to agree to your point, though. It's like so that I don't frustrate myself.
Right.
It's like in the end, it's like, well, this is something I'm supposed to enjoy. So
exactly.
I don't have to be emotionally disappointed.
But if you look at it also in a way of like, say, for those gamers out there, okay, you have a clear goal in mind for your character throughout this game, but all of a sudden you have a side quest. Okay, the side quest took you off track, but you might learn something, you might pick something up along the way that you never knew you needed in order to get to your destination, right? So if you reframe your mind into that thinking, then those side quests, the only thing is too many side quests.
Yes, no, that's too much.
No, then you're just off track.
Okay,
I like what Melanie says about after she finishes a module, she can get a latte. Talking about like micro rewards.
Hey, a reward is a reward.
Ren says a watch.
Yeah, see that's too bougie for me.
I got myself a nice watch. Look at that.
Yeah, no,
it's not nice, but I love it. I love it.
He always knows when it's right time to get.
And I'm not a jewelry person.
It glows. Look at that.
I'm not a jewelry person. Okay, what are we rating this? Because we still got 4 more left. What are we rating this? Set goals.
I'm like a 6, 60%.
60%.
I'm probably more like 85, 90%.
Yeah, I'm more towards a 90. Like I said, it doesn't mean you're going to have to do it all, but at least you're accountable for stuff.
And I think this is more of a personality type.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to the third thinking cap just to make sure we have time for it in case we don't get. All right, for all those people who keep saying they're old, okay? What helps keep your brain young? What helps keep your brain young? I, learning to play an instrument. J, learning to cook. K, learning a new language. Or L, learning to spend money. So go ahead and put in there, learning to play an instrument, to cook, a new language, or spend money. And this will help keep your brain young. Okay?
I'm pretty sure that TikTok gave me the brain of an 8-year-old.
I don't watch TikTok. All right, let's go to number 7.
All right.
Prioritize your health, right? Your body fuels your mind. Exercise regularly. I don't know about that one. Sleep well, sure. Eat clean and manage stress. It affects your mood, clarity, and motivation. Thoughts?
You do have to be more thoughtful of this as you get older.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And it's not even just for personal growth. It's just to survive.
For sure.
I notice if I play like a sport or game, I'm also having to plan my recovery.
Yeah. Plan what you're going to do for the next or not do for the next couple days.
Yeah. Exactly. But the most important thing is prioritize your health. It's in your hands. This goes back to point number 1, taking responsibility for yourself.
Yep.
And for me, you do have to step on some toes sometimes, especially when you are Filipino, because the food
so good.
Yes.
the food is good, and they will get angry if you don't eat their food, but then they'll make fun of you for being fat.
Exactly. That's what it is. And so here's my defense, because it happens all the time. And as soon as I say I'm diabetic, they're like, oh, okay, and then they'll understand and leave me alone. So that's what I have to throw out sometimes, like, because they keep trying to give me rice and pancit and all that. And I said, hey, as much as I would love that, and then they see me eating a cookie, I said, see, I gotta pick and choose where I'm eating my sweets, right? But yeah,
I tell them I can't eat. I have gout. I can't eat that.
See,
the gout.
But yes, I think prioritizing your health is really important, whether it's physical health, mental health, but your well-being. I think that's really important.
It is important, but I don't think that first word, I don't know what that
exercise
means.
regularly. Yeah, I don't do that either.
I don't know if I don't know if I prioritize it for sure, but I want to do this mostly because to be able to play with my kids. Because they're constantly saying, hey, let's go out. I'm like, oh, I can't right now. My back hurts, my knees hurt, but wanting to play with them definitely makes me want to do that.
I definitely, that point definitely hit home when I took a road trip with my son after a basketball tournament, volleyball tournament. I gotten injured, and so it was like a big limiting factor in my road trip afterwards.
Yeah.
And I really thought about it. It's like, as I get older, I want to be able to, go to places, with my family and my son.
Right.
So I need to, preserve whatever's left of my knees, so I can be able to do that. So,
Yeah.
um,
Brother Ren said, "Health is wealth." So true, right? Because if
Yeah.
you're not healthy, you
And
can't do anything.
rice is the currency.
No,
Rice
no.
is the debt.
I've
You gotta pay that debt.
I've stopped
one day.
rice. I've stopped rice. All right, let's go to number 8 because we got 3 more to go. Master emotional regulation, right? Learn to pause before reacting.
Yes.
Practices like mindfulness, meditation, and cognitive behavioral tools help you manage emotions and build resilience. Yes, I've learned to try to stop being emotional because that's just too draining.
Yeah, I think I'm probably close to 100% in agreement with this. Be complete in control of your emotions.
Yes.
To the point to where even like, and I used to be guilty of this before when I was a teacher, when the kids would act up and I would just be way too cool and collected.
Yeah.
And someone had to tell me like, hey, you need to be angry, even if you're not actually angry. You need to actually emote that so that, people know that is your emotion.
See, I had the opposite with you. I was constantly angry. I was always mad. Like, if you knew me about 20, 25 years ago, like, why is this guy so mad? Like, I was always mad.
That's not good either.
No, I was always mad. And there was a time where, like, I was gone for a while, military, came back home, and, like, my brother had locked the keys in the car, and he automatically thought I was going to, like, just explode. I didn't. I was just like, I can call AAA. I can get a coat hanger, whatever. I'm like, oh, that's fine. I was like, is the car on? No. Okay, well then it's fine. I learned a lot to be able to control my emotions and just like take a deep breather.
And we're not saying don't be emotional. There's nothing wrong with having emotions, but you have to know when to show the emotions and how to control it. Yeah.
In my family, in the Gabertina family, if you see like someone going like this, like scratching their head, that's when they're getting angry. Like, okay, let's back off a little bit. He's trying to scratch his head. So.
Yeah, no, we don't have that in our family. They just go off on
signs.
You. No, they just go off on you.
See, Brother Ren says this really well. Patience and learn when and where to release certain
Yes, that
emotions.
is so true. That is so true.
I think you and me know all about Brother Ren's
and
his application of emotions. But no, it is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be 100% stoic all of the time.
Yes.
You have to sometimes
have emotions.
Have a sense of urgency in what you're saying.
Yes.
And I learned this as a parent. Like, when my son did something that was pretty bad, but I didn't think it was a big deal. But I knew in this moment, like, I have to teach him, and he has to know that there's an importance to what I'm saying.
Right.
And so, like, the whole time in my head, I'm calm and collected, but he sees someone who's like angry, like this is a no, don't do this. So you do need to be in control of your emotions to that degree where you know when to employ it.
Yes.
Also, without being like a sociopath.
Yes. So are we 100% on this?
Yeah, I think
100.
I'm 100% on this.
All right. Let's go to our next one. Where are we at? Number 9. Take calculated risk. Right. Growth lives outside your comfort zone. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start with the small steps that stretch your boundaries. And I totally agree. Like we said, it's calculated risk. We're not saying be reckless, okay? But you have to get out of that comfort zone. If you're stuck within that comfort zone, you're never going to grow.
Yeah.
So I agree with this one completely.
I agree as well.
Yeah. So calculated risk oftentimes is like, it's the story is like you took a risk and it paid off.
Yes.
But I have so many stories where I decided not to take a risk, given the information at hand. So prime example of when this really matters, like life or death, is like when you're hiking. So I was hiking up in the mountains in New Mexico, and I knew that when afternoon rolls around, you need to be off the mountain because thunderstorms always roll in.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you experience that in Montana? Thunderstorms tend to come in through the mountains. No. So some mountain ranges, that's why you look ahead of time if it's a thing, especially in the summer. And I remember my dad wanting to camp up on the top of the mountain. I said, we can't risk that. We need to get off this mountain now. And sure enough, because we went down the mountain, even though we weren't able to, camp up there like we originally intended, we dodged a hailstorm. There was a hailstorm that came in.
Yeah.
And when there's lightning and thunder, when you're up in the mountains, you're literally up in it,
Mhm.
in the thunder lane. It's scary. So
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes you need to take in as much information as possible and know when to be like, nope, drawing the line here, we're not crossing it.
Yeah.
We're not going to take that risk.
Yeah. And like we said, there is no such thing as a perfect moment. So you have to make decisions.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be, oh, I'm going to wait till this happens. Because what if that never happens and you'll never take the risk?
So what's a risk you took that paid off? It comes to mind.
For me, my risk was moving to Texas.
Yeah.
Like I had no plans of ever living outside of California. And when my boss said, hey, there's this thing you can do in Texas, an opening with a job, which I think you'll be great for. You should do it. I didn't know anyone in Texas, like nobody at all. And I'm like, that's not something I would do. But I said, hey, let me go. If things don't work out, I can always go back home. And so I think just having that fallback, but I don't regret coming to Texas. I do regret the weather in Texas. But other than that, I like it here. The people here are nice. I love my job. But it's, I think that paid off for me.
Yeah, a job comes to mind because when I decided to jump out of teaching to work in data, I had to take the risk of a pay cut. So I took that risk, and it definitely paid off long term.
Your brother said, yes, you have come a long way. And he's not the, what does this sound like?
He's not the brother that he had mentioned in the story earlier.
You've come a long way.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. But yeah, so yeah, I think like the key word is calculated. You cannot just take random risks, especially when it comes to like financial things and all that. It has to be calculated. You can't just be careless. All right, and then let's go with the last one because I like this one. Be relentlessly honest with yourself, right? Face your weaknesses, blind spots, and excuses. Brutal self-honesty is uncomfortable but necessary for meaningful change. Thoughts on that?
You got to be careful with that because you do have to be, I think you have to be 100% honest with yourself. You don't want to be living a delusion, but you have to be careful where you start treading into where you're
putting yourself down.
You're putting yourself down, but then you're so honest, like you're dishonest. Like you just take it too far. And now you start extrapolating what you think might be happening based on that honesty and going beyond that. And then you end up bringing yourself down. Because like mental health is like a real thing that you have to take care of also. And so like you can only be honest with yourself insofar that, you're at least giving yourself the correct information. But, be careful about going beyond that honesty and actually like, hurting yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know about relentlessly, but I think depending on what your goals are, what you're trying to grow at, like asking yourself certain questions and being honest with those answers, I think is what's more important.
And the whole facing your weaknesses, if you know these are your weaknesses, a lot of times is when you're going to start to say, like, how can I make this my strength?
Right.
Because like one of my weaknesses, which but I thought it was a strength, but I guess it was a weakness, was I was nitpick every single thing. Because for me, everything had to be perfect, especially in the work environment. Like if I teach you something, you have to do it this way. You do not have the option of doing it another way, even though there's other ways to do it.
Yeah.
And so I started to realize that was a weakness for me, where I shouldn't say there is only one way to do it, because there's different ways to do different things. And so as long as the job got done, then I had to accept it, and then I was okay. So that was one of my weaknesses, being a perfectionist. And then, but before that, I didn't think it was a weakness. I thought, hey, it's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
But that's something you have to take
and you're
into
honest with
consideration.
yourself with that assessment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the way I see it, it's like, be 100% with the accuracy of the information you receive, but be careful of your interpretation of that information. That's my only caveat for that.
So besides these 10, is there anything else that comes to mind of things that we think would help us grow our growth mindset? For me, it's just being willing to learn. Because if you think you already know everything, then there's no way you're going to grow.
Right.
What about you guys?
I would say probably invest in your network of family and friends, because the people immediately around you in your network can help you with your personal growth.
Right.
Okay, especially like your close family, when you're really in need of something, when you are emotionally down, like they're going to be the ones who are going to be there to help support that. So I would say, yeah, maintain a positive network. I think that was like one of the other points, but just to be a lot more to the point, that it's like your friends and family.
Yeah.
Okay, RJ did put something in there which I thought was really good. He said, not sure about relentlessly, because you got to give yourself grace sometimes. And that's true.
Yeah.
You have to be honest, but you do have to give yourself grace, because I think if you beat yourself up too much, then that's not going to help you either.
Right. Because then at that point, you're being picky about the honesty.
Yes.
Because it's like, I'm this, I'm that, but then you're ignoring the other positive qualities about yourself.
Yes. And then Brother Renz did put something here. A few trips in front of the mirror sometimes and telling yourself, what are you doing? You have to do better. You are a mess right now. It helps. Be accountable.
All I see is that meme where the guy's looking himself in the mirror and just like,
do you guys actually look in the mirror and talk to yourself? No, I'm just curious, because I don't. Like, if I talk to myself, I just talk to myself, but I don't actually look in the mirror and say, hey, you need to do better. I'll tell myself, oh my gosh, I need to do better. But I'm not going to look in the mirror and say, hey, you need to. I don't know. Do you guys do it?
I've done it before.
Yeah. I've won many arguments in the car.
Are you with yourself? Because you don't win arguments with your family.
But to go back to your question, Arnie, like I believe like being resilient, having that grit, and like being able to reframe certain things so that you can continue to grow, like when things don't go the way that you want it to be, or you might quote unquote fail.
Yeah.
Being able to overcome those to be able to continue that growth is what I think needs to be in here as well.
V put something in there, and I thought this was pretty cool. Tips on growing mindset is not being ignorant and disrespectful towards others' opinions, because it is okay to agree to disagree with others and still be respectful, but be open-minded. And that is like, I totally agree with her 100%. I think like if everyone agrees all the time, that's just not fun. So it's okay to agree to disagree, but you have to do it in a respectful way.
Yeah.
I've definitely learned a lot from certain conversations with V there.
Do you guys agree to disagree a lot?
Not a lot, but there are times where we're like, okay, you're right, but I'm also right. Let's just agree to disagree, so yeah.
I don't know. My wife is giving me that line, and I'm like, no, it's not legal to do this on the road. There's no agree to disagree. They're just right and wrong.
Like what? What's not legal to do on the road? Like what?
I'm not going to out her.
Oh.
What about the statute of limitations for traffic crime?
But it's true though. It is okay. I think it is okay to agree to disagree, because we're not always going to agree on everything, and that's okay. That's okay.
And that's like that show we had on personality types comes in. Yeah, because there's definitely different ways.
And you can definitely learn from other people's mindsets.
Yes,
too,
yes.
I know I've grown
a lot.
Yeah. Although people who find that running relieves their stress are wrong.
Okay, that I will agree with you on that one. And you know what? But Brother Andre did put in there, like, why wasn't music wasn't one of the options on how to really relax and all that stuff. Oh, you know what? Let's go through the answers before we end. I completely forgot. Let's go through the answers for our thinking cap, right? So the first one, doing this can trick your brain into happiness. Yeah. The answer is B, smiling. Yeah. Even though Matt said that his wife said shopping was the answer.
I had an interview on Tuesday, and I was literally in the car like this.
See, hey, that's what you got to do, right?
Like, my face needs to smile. Like,
yes. All right. And then, which environments helps lower stress and stimulate creativity? It is E, nature. Okay, it is not the mall, ladies. It is E, nature. Yes. And then the last one is what helps keep your brain young? This one, we had a lot of people with different answers. A lot of people put playing an instrument, but it's actually learning a new language. When you learn a new language, it really helps keep your brain young. And then that's what even they were saying for young kids who learn multiple languages, it helps stimulate their brain. So if y'all have kids, teach them different languages. Yeah.
I don't know. I think memes kept my mind pretty juvenile.
You think so? So I don't know. I don't do the whole meme thing. But anyways, thank you, Rome, for joining us today. Nate, thanks for running tech and actually talking while I was trying to chat with people while we talked. But we hope you guys enjoyed our show and you gained something about growth mindset. Hopefully, we can all grow in some way, mentally, not really physically, Brother Renz, but that's okay. Thank you all for joining us. Tune in next week. I think next week is going to be top 10 on how to be adventurous. So if you like to stay home and do nothing, tune in. Maybe we'll pique your interest and you'll become a little bit more adventurous, right? But before we go, as always, we want to say thank you to our INC radio station manager, Brother Wally Taray, our Deputy Executive Minister, Brother Angelo Irano Manalo, and of course, our Executive Minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Thank you all for tuning in. See you all next time.